You already know the feeling. There is absolutely nothing quite like the reward of owning a piece of automotive history. But let's be real, the challenges that come with it can be seriously overwhelming at times. So today, we're jumping right into a complete explainer of our source material that actually reveals the old-school mechanics' secrets for keeping these vintage machines running smoothly. We're going to dig into exactly what seasoned experts do to preserve these vehicles, translating their decades of experience so you can avoid those really common, really expensive pitfalls. Let's get right to it. Here is our quick roadmap for the day. Number 1, the classic car reality. 2, the original blueprint. 3, fluids and essential lubrication. 4, period correct authenticity. And finally, number 5, master secrets, timing and electricals.
All right, Section 1, the classic car reality, facing decades of wear and tear.
So, there's this really dangerous trap that so many owners fall into. Think about modern cars for a second. They're packed with plug-and-play diagnostics, right? The second something goes wrong, a light pops on and tells you exactly what to fix. But with a classic, you're dealing with decades of wear, a whole lot of manual labor, and often completely missing documentation. You literally cannot treat a finicky classic like a brand new daily driver. Standard modern car care just does not apply here at all.
And because we don't have those fancy computerized diagnostic tools, we are left highly vulnerable to some pretty serious issues hiding right under the hood or up under the chassis. The source material highlights 3 major culprits you gotta watch out for. First, suspension fatigue. This will completely mess with your steering geometry. Next, faulty brakes. And finally, those persistent, annoying oil leaks. Guys, these aren't just minor inconveniences. These are critical safety and performance failures, and you really need a trained eye to spot them before they leave you stranded on the side of the road.
Moving on to Section 2, the original blueprint, reconstructing the past. Let's look at why going backward is your best move. The sources make one thing absolutely crystal clear. Tracking down your vehicle's original specifications is your absolute baseline. It's step 1 to avoid huge repair bills. You're essentially playing detective and reconstructing the past. You need to find the exact fluids, the precise filters, and the specific components that were mandated the literal day that car rolled off the assembly line. Doing that research up front is simply non-negotiable for responsible classic car ownership.
But how in the world do you keep track of all this, especially when the original owner's manuals are usually long gone? Well, the experts offer a really simple but incredibly powerful piece of advice. Quote, always keep a record of your maintenance and repairs. It sounds so basic, right? But honestly, taking the time to meticulously log your work is a true master secret. Writing down everything you've done and everything that still needs doing helps you spot patterns. It lets you catch potential problems way before they blow up into major engine disasters.
Okay, Section 3. Fluids and essential lubrication, the lifeblood of your classic. Time to get our hands dirty.
You might be thinking, hey, oil's just oil, right? Wrong. Pouring modern engine oil into a classic car is a massive mistake. The sources are super clear on this warning. Older engines need entirely different formulations. If you use modern, off-the-shelf synthetics, you are risking premature wear and tear, and potentially even complete engine failure. Back in the day, engine oils had very specific additives that were formulated perfectly to protect those older valve trains. You have to use what the engine was built for. And once you actually track down those specific older-style fluids, keeping an eye on them is completely on you. Like we said, no dashboard warning lights are coming to rescue you. You have to get in there and actively check the engine oil, the coolant, the brake fluid, and the transmission fluid. Catching a low level or some dirty fluid early is going to save you massive headaches down the road. Plus, while you're doing these manual checks, you have a great opportunity to listen for early warning signs. Keep an ear out for any weird noises or new vibrations that definitely weren't there on your last drive. Which brings us to Section 4, period correct authenticity, preserving value and handling. Now, we all know it's incredibly tempting to just upgrade to modern parts. I mean, they're cheaper, they're way easier to find online, and they ship fast. But the trade-off is steep. The source material points out that slapping modern parts on your classic can fundamentally alter how the car handles, and worse, it can severely lower its overall financial value. Period correct parts? Yeah, they can be a headache to track down, but they are absolutely essential if you want to maintain the car's authenticity and its long-term worth. Trust me, it is always worth the extra effort. So once you've actually invested the time and money into finding those rare, authentic components, you have to protect them from public enemy number 1, rust. Classic cars are just incredibly susceptible to corrosion. According to the experts, your storage setup needs to be perfectly dialed in. We are talking about a totally dry, cool place, completely out of direct sunlight.
Proper storage isn't some fancy luxury for classic cars. It is a fundamental requirement if you actually want to preserve them.
Oh, and while you're hyper-focused on the engine and the bodywork, please do not forget about the rubber. Because classic cars often sit in the garage for really long stretches of time, their tires are super vulnerable to dry rot and flat spotting. You've got to constantly check them for proper original spec inflation and for any weird wear patterns. Think about it. A beautifully tuned engine isn't going to do you any good if the tires are structurally compromised from just sitting on cold concrete all winter long.
All right, let's hit our final section, number 5, Master Secrets. Timing in electricals, the Vintage Mechanics Toolkit.
Vintage electrical systems are pretty notorious, aren't they? They create these ghost gremlins that can completely drive you crazy. You could easily blow a whole 3-day weekend just chasing down a tiny battery drain. But if you approach your diagnostics with a strict 3-step procedure, you're going to save yourself hours of frustration. Here's what the sources recommend. Step 1, always start by just visually checking the physical wiring. Step 2, inspect every single connection for hidden corrosion or looseness. And Step 3, invest in a multimeter and actually use it to track down exactly where the electrical current is dropping. It's a really simple, logical flow, but it solves the vast majority of vintage electrical nightmares.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. We've talked about finding the right fluids, hunting down those authentic parts, and methodically tracing your wiring. But according to the season's mechanics in our sources, every bit of that leads up to one single most important question for peak performance and longevity. What is the one absolutely crucial check?
The ultimate master secret. It's checking your ignition timing. It sounds like such a basic check, but I'm telling you, it makes a night and day difference in how your car actually runs. Because over time, just from regular driving, the timing on these older engines is inevitably going to get thrown off. And when that happens, your performance drops drastically, your engine starts running rough, and your fuel efficiency just completely tanks.
So here's your action plan. Grab a timing light. It's an absolutely essential tool for any classic owner. Pull out that record of your original vehicle specifications and follow the tuning procedure. Make this a strict, non-negotiable habit. You really should be checking your ignition timing every few months just to make sure everything is perfectly dialed in. Staying on top of this one single adjustment is the real secret to keeping that engine purring like a top.
And that wraps up our explainer. We've successfully decoded the old-school mechanics secrets from our sources today. From tracking down those vital original specs and sourcing the exact vintage lubrication to methodically diagnosing those electrical gremlins and keeping your ignition timing perfectly tuned. Now the real question is this. Is your classic car slowly deteriorating in the garage right now because of modern fluids or bad timing? Or are you ready to take these techniques, grab your multimeter, and go keep automotive history alive? Think about it, and we'll catch you